Hello, this is the Watchdog. Welcome back to Fun with Watches. If watches weren't fun, you only need one. Today we're going to review the Pagani Design PD1792 GMT automatic watch. Start with the wrist check. I'm wearing this Pagani Design PD1812 in the monochrome colorway. And Greg was wearing my Tomy T301. I just reviewed that watch. If you haven't seen the review, be sure to check it out. Greg said that Master Skywalker told his sister to tell the Force Ghostbusters to release the Academy Force Ghost. He said, Anakin Skywalker is our father. How could you do that to him? She said, no, Bail Organa was my father. He raised me as a baby, and Anakin Skywalker blew him up. Luke told her anger leads to the dark side. Then he offered her a Snickers bar. All right, let's take a look at the watch. Comes in this typical Pagani Design box. And here it is. Isn't that a nice looking watch? I really like it. I think they did a good job with this one. This one has been one of the better Pagani Design watches I've reviewed. Really like it. Another Pagani Design on my channel, the steel bezel GMT sports watch has been fairly popular lately, so Pagani Design said me too and came out with this PD1792, which I would call fairly derivative of different models, but nothing I would call a direct homage. The texture dial is different than a comparable San Martin, as well as the handset. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. This PD1792 bucks the trend of AliExpress automatic GMT watches by keeping the DG5833 instead of switching to the more expensive but more reliable NH34. Maybe the added expense of the NH34 was pricing Pagani Design out of their sub $100 sweet spot. This watch is going for $71.75 during the big AliExpress anniversary sale. So hopefully if you want it, you can pick it up now. This watch comes in 4 different colorways. If you don't like the navy blue that I chose, there's also black, sky blue, or white. The steel bracelet is the only option. The watch is 39.2 millimeters if you measure at the bezel, 47 millimeters lug to lug with inverted end links. It's 12.8 millimeters thick, including the dome sapphire crystal. Has a 21 millimeter lug width, which tapers down to 18 at the butterfly clasp, and weighs 143 grams on the supplied bracelet with 3 links removed. The bezel is a steel bezel, does not rotate, and the writing is fairly thin. And there's no loom on the bezel or anything like that. Most steel bezel GMT watches don't have loom. But it's a nice looking bezel. Then we have the dial. We have the Rehot chapter ring with the minute markers and a little bit darker at the 5s. Then we have the dial. The dial is a textured dial. And it kind of looks like the surface of the moon kind of texture. And I must say, it looks better on camera than it does in person. It's kind of dull in person, but it looks really nice in the pictures. And it looks pretty nice on my camera. So you just have to see it in person to really know. Then we have the Pagani Design logo applied and the name printed. Then it says GMT automatic on the bottom. No mention of water resistance. And you get the 100 meters. Then we have the applied baton indices, and they look nice, and we have a double at the 12. And then we have Dauphine hands, and they're loom 2. And then we have a GMT hand, and that's also loomed. And then we have the running second hand with no loom. And then we have a date at the 3 with a border. Then we have a sign screw down crown. The crown action's great. Pops nicely when you unscrew it. And when you go to screw it back down, it catches right away and you don't feel a lot of resistance. So I like that. Then we have the crystal. The crystal is a dome sapphire. And it's single dome because you can see distortion. But it does a pretty good job of not reflecting. A lot of dome sapphire crystals reflect like crazy. And this one doesn't seem too bad. And then we have the case. The case is wonderful. They did a great job with it. We have a nice polished chamfered edge, nice brush finishing, tops and sides. This really good looking case. And then we have crown guards that actually protect the crown and don't act like a little pedestal or anything like that. So really happy with the case. The lug sloped down so it sits nice and flat on the wrist. Then we have the case back. Case back is a display case back, and it's glass, not sapphire. This is not a sapphire sandwich, and I don't see anything wrong with that. Sapphire would just increase the cost for no gain, because you don't have to worry about scratching a crystal that's sitting on your wrist. Then it says Pagani Design. Then it says stainless steel. Then it says sapphire crystal. And it says 10 bars, which is 100 meters. Underneath the case back is the Pearl DG5833 GMT automatic movement. This is a 3 Hertz movement that hand winds, hacks, and has a unidirectional rotor. And the biggest difference between this and the NH34, besides the unidirectional rotor, is how the GMT hand works. On an NH34, the GMT hand jumps, and on a DG5833, it's a smooth action. So one nice thing is, since it doesn't jump per hour, you can actually do half hours. If you're in one of the rare time zones that does a half hour daylight savings time. Of course, you're never going to be in one of those, but there are a few. And another nice thing about it is you don't have to worry about alignment issues. But the bad thing about it is it's a little bit more difficult to set, a little bit more time consuming, and if you go too far, well, you have to go all the way around again and try again. So let's go ahead and put it on the time grapher and see how it's doing. Here it is on the time grapher. As you can see, it's running pretty slow, minus 13 seconds. It's unfortunate when a hacking movement runs slow, because when you have to set it, when it drifts, you have to actually move the hands, unlike a fast movement where you just hack it and wait for time to catch up. And I do not know the lift angle of this movement. When I go to caliber corner, it says undetermined, and nobody said, but 302 degrees of amplitude is way too high, so I must have the lift angle incorrect. And as you can see, there's a little bit of beat error. That's why you have 2 lines on the screen. The bracelet is a 5-link. And here, let me show you the individual link. It's fully articulating. See, the middle links bend or rotate independently from the outer links. So that's always nice. You always get a better fit that way. And once again, these little decorative links in the bottom are individual too. Of course, they're going to, once you put the pins in though, they're going to be fixed with the center link. So it is a true 5-link bracelet, and they're solid. And we have solid inverted end links, but it's a 21 millimeter lug width. So if you want to put it on a strap, and if you don't own a 21 millimeter strap, you're going to have to use the spring bars already in it and just put a 20 millimeter in there and just have a little bit of gap. And there's no quick release, of course. Then we have a butterfly clasp. And yes, butterfly clasps look nice, but they don't have micro adjust. And this bracelet has no half links. So that means to get the perfect fit is not always a possibility. And we have push pin adjusters, not screw pins. That's rare for Pagani Design. Pagani Design usually has screw pins. And of course, screw pins sound more premium, but to me, push pins are just more practical. I never have to worry about push pins coming out, but I do always have to worry about screw pins coming out. And sometimes with screw pins, you have to mess with Loctite and stuff like that. So I'd rather have push pins. Plus, you don't have to worry about stripping anything, and you don't have to worry about little tiny screwdrivers. Here's the watch on my 7.5-inch wrist. That really looks nice. It wears nice. It's nice and flat on the wrist. And I removed 3 links, and the links are fairly big. So you should be able to wear this 8 3/4, no problem. But yeah, this is a really good looking watch. They did a good job with it. And once again, though, there's no half links, so I just happen to have a really good fit here. Your mileage may vary. Here we are in the loom room. Usually Pagani Design treats the loom as an afterthought, but every once in a while you'll find one with at least decent loom. As we speed up the time, we see we have blue BGW9 colored hands, but green C3 colored indices. Everything is fading fairly steady, but there are some legs to this loom. The green indices are just a hair better than the blue hands, but not by much. This loom is not anything great, but it is at least decent and actually usable, unlike some Pagani Design watches that fade instantly. What I like about this watch, it's a great looking watch, a real stunner that wears nice also. It has a fully articulating bracelet with inverted end links. Nicely finished case with chamfered edge. And it has decent loom for a Pagani Design. What are my gripes and groans? DG5833 instead of NH34. This watch is pretty enough. I think people would have spent the extra money for the NH34. Butterfly clasp means no micro adjust. Has a 21mm leg width, which is going to limit strap choices. And this texture is kind of dull when you look at it up close. Do I recommend this watch? Of course. This watch looks and wears great and is one of the best looking Pagani Design watches I've ever reviewed. Well, thank you for watching my review of the Pagani Design PD1792. And I'll be back with another review. Be sure and like and subscribe to my channel. And if you like this watch, be sure you use my affiliate link and I'll get a tiny commission, but they do add up. And I'd like to thank my Members Choice members. There's still only 4 of you, but like I said, I'll keep going with the program until it runs out of money or I run out of members. And once again, I haven't sold the latest Members Choice watch, so I can't put another one up to vote until I sell the last one. Sales have been really slow lately, so I don't know if it's everybody's doing their taxes and don't have any money or what. So hopefully sales will pick up soon. Bye.